Hello, it's Lisa, and it's time for 30 minutes of restoration, ease, and some yin yoga. Today we'll be working kind of half and half with yin and restoration. Of course, it is always your choice. Would you like to sit in comfort, or would you like to feel that tension in a form of a stretch with the intention of changing the shape of your body? It's always your choice. I've got a big bolster with me today. I've got 3 blocks, you might need 2. We'll be doing a seated spinal twist. Even if you'd like to grab like a dining room chair and bring that with you, that would also be appropriate. Sometimes higher up is better, so I've got all sorts of things around me that I might need. Let's welcome ourselves here, invite ourselves to this place, whatever place you've chosen for your practice on this day. For me, it's evening, end of the day, a time of day where sun will still be setting, the yin hours of the day. My intention for myself, my intention for all of you is perhaps ease. So I'll invite you to allow your eyes to fall into a bit of a steady gaze, a little forward and down. It's quite relaxing on your body. Eyes can be open or closed for this part or even all of your practice. Muscles of your face relaxed. Structures within your mouth at ease. So that's jaw unclenched, tongue down just for a moment. And even your throat clear, unconstricted. Deeper than normal, inhale through your nose and exhale with an audible sigh. Do that again so you can begin listening to your body breathe. Again, so you can begin to feel breath, feel emotion, feel your body breathing. And one more, just like that, your next sigh marks the start of your practice, our time together today. How do you bring yourself into ease? That was all a little setup that I didn't set you up. It was a setup for inviting ease in, but we intend ease for ourselves. We invite it in, and then there's always the place where you allow it when it comes. And you, for 30 minutes, say there's no place else to be. There's nothing else to do except be at ease. The breath practice of that, coupled with eyes, face, and mouth, is inhale through your nose, exhale through an imaginary straw. Training that relaxation response can come in 3 breaths. How has your training been? What is the state of your nervous system today? How resilient are you? Simply intend, invite, and allow ease to come upon you in your body's own time, in your mind's own time. In order to bring that ease upon myself, I'm going to move gently. I'm sitting on a bolster right now. I'm going to check in with those 3 spinal movements, those 3 planes of movement. We always check in with flexion and extension first. We say that's the first movement that needs to be cleared in the spine. If you don't have enough extension to bring you into neutral, side bending isn't really possible. So we check in flexion and extension, cat-cow, lateral flexion or this side bend. Whole spine goes, head bobbles, torso bobbles. And then the third spinal movement we do is rotation. My eyes, my face, my head turns, my body follows. You can use your arms a little bit for this, you just don't want to force it. Spinal rotation being that third cardinal plane we check in with, back to neutral. And then we allow our body to do what we do in regular human motion, but to address all of those planes in whichever way feels good. Perhaps moving to places of comfort, perhaps moving towards places that are a little sticky. We'll come up into extension. Chest rises, eyes rise, maybe just to the high corner of the room. Drop your chin to your chest, back to the neck stretches. Drop your torso, you're slouching, so your thoracic spine is able to elongate. Chin still heavy towards chest. Come forward. That rounded spine, again, we've done this one probably every day. Tail is tucked. Stretches somewhere between the base of the skull down into the pelvis at that back superficial line of the body. You may also be feeling this into your glute muscles. Perhaps more on the leg that's crossed in front if you're sitting cross-legged. Let's bobble ourselves just a little bit, or just gently bring ourselves over to the right. And as you bring yourself over to the right, resist the urge to rotate the spine. We're in a forward fold and then a side bend. If you are over to your right, your left lower back is now put into a position, or placed in a position where it might be stretching more. Again, you may be sitting here, you may be farther down, you may have grabbed some props. We're not going to stay in these positions for too long, as is with these short practices. We're hoping our body remembers what we've done on other days. And it says, I've been here before. Gently crawl over to your left side. And as you move to the left, the right lower back is allowed to get a little bit longer. You may feel a stretch in that quadratus lumborum muscle. It may be in the fascia of that right lower back. I may have said that wrong a moment ago. Right lower back if you're at your left. Gently back to the center. Hold yourself right here. Nice, deeper than normal inhale. Let's exhale with a sigh. Drop our chin. Round spines. Down again. Again, these are going to be short holds in these positions. Really preparing us for what comes next. Round up. Come back to, let's do hands to center of the chest. Thumbs can push in and up. reminding our spines to find that nice neutral spine sitting on your ischial tuberosities, those sits bones, modicum of sway in the lower back, neck is long, face is looking straight ahead. Nice inhale, exhale, start to look and turn to your left. Torso turns to that side wall, chin over shoulder, eyes looking behind you. Back to center, nice inhale. Exhale, go the other directions, eyes, face, torso, chin, all it goes. And back to center and just relax the spine. I've been sitting on a bolster. I'm going to come to the floor. If you have blocks, one block is going the long way. Second block is going to stand up straight, and then let's bring the bolster near. We've got one other posture to do before that. Let's go into that double triangle position, not that 90-90, not that swastikasana, but that double triangle. Front leg is in a triangle, two sides with the front leg. Let's make that be your right leg, back leg, foot to knee, and when I reach out and grab my left ankle, that's the third side of that triangle. Just a little bit of flexion and extension, really thinking about how this top hip, this left hip, can mobilize. And we're going to come up and forward over the front leg. Now I'm doing this with a fairly flat spine. I could round, the preference is yours. Flat back, leaning forward, most of the motion is through the hip joints. If you tuck and come down, you'll feel it more in your back. I personally like the stretch in my deep hip, pelvis, gluteal muscles. You'll feel, perhaps, if you're flat back, the glute of the front leg. That would be your right leg if you're mirroring me. Going to do just a gentle little bobble. We know connective tissue very often responds to a gentle, repetitive motion, a little cue for it to relax. I like to say, coming in and letting that connective tissue talk to the other cells of the connective tissue with some benevolence. We're here for good intention. We are here gently, nothing's going to tear, and just let the body have that conversation that ease awaits us. Now let's push ourselves up from here. We're going to take this, I've got a square bolster. This was where a dining room chair might come in handy. I'm going to place this and let it rest. I'm going to move my pelvis right into the cushion. This back leg, I'm going to bring it up so it's a little bit like riding side saddle here. Up nice and straight, rotate towards the pillow, and then let the pillow hold you right here. I'm going to turn towards you just to get started. This is a rotation to your right if you're mirroring me. So in the long run, we will turn our heads that way, and ideally the ear will rest. Just lost an earphone, sorry. And let's just keep facing this front. And then we'll check in with the lower body. Ladies, sometimes you have to address breast tissue here. Just a little bit. I'm going to now take this top leg, and if I'm not feeling too much here and would like to, the top leg can start to go back. Way back, I've just come back to that double triangle position. And here we're asking for some ease. This is a gentle rotation on the spine. It's really the first, I think it's the first practice in this 2 weeks that we've addressed the spinal rotation. Again, spinal rotation comes at the tail end of practices. If you You are honoring the spine as it likes to move. If you like, check looking the other direction. That is not happening for me right now. Interesting to note. And I really say that as interesting to note. Doesn't mean much other than my body doesn't want to go there now. And checking in, that top leg can start to move a little farther back. That is giving you a little more space in the front of the top leg, probably your left leg's hip flexor. And then check in. I really don't want you to feel any compression in the hips, but merely a gentle rotation that is supported by these bolsters, or your chair, or your couch cushions. Also might be feeling the glute of the bottom leg, which is probably your right leg. Already, hands push into the floor. I'm going to come part way up. Because I was unable to turn my head the other direction, make sure my spine is in a pretty nice position here, not collapsed into my shoulders, but let's just see how much you can turn in that other direction if you weren't there. We'll take a few breaths here. It's a nice inhale, exhale, and try to turn. This is work. Stay there, take another nice inhale, exhale. Back to neutral. I'm going to take this back leg and bring it around. Find a position of ease right here. You've been in a twist, in a rotation. It's nice to stop in the middle ground before we go the other direction. Relax the spine. I'm going to grab my bolster. You can just flip around and go the other way if you like in an effort to stay facing you instead of in the other direction. First, let's find that double triangle. So now your left leg is in front, right leg back. If I reach out with my right arm, I can find my right ankle. Those are the two triangles. Just a gentle flexion and extension. Again, we're not trying to torque our knee. We are trying to gently mobilize the hip joint of this back leg, your right one. Perhaps giving a little elongation, tension in the form of a stretch to the joint capsule of that hip. And it's going to be up, forward, offering some form of stretch to the gluteal muscles of the left leg. You might be resting all the way down. You might be resting on some pillows. What's available to you? And your arms press you up from there. That back leg comes on top. I like to call it side saddle position. For you to teach that way. Prop pillow stays pretty close to your hip. And hold those blocks there. Allow myself to rotate and come down. I'm still going to face front, although ideally my head will be able, the side's a little easier for me. Check in. You may want to stay here for a few breaths. You might know your body well enough to know that that top leg can move back into that double triangle position. And just notice where you feel this. I like to teach this posture. I'm going to hold my head up so I can talk. I like to teach this posture like this. So often this is done either flat on the ground or with the bolsters not propped up. And very often I hear, gosh, I've been taking yin or restorative classes for 10, 15, 20 years, and I've always hated this because it's miserable. And it's not supposed to be miserable. With yin, we go into a little bit of elective discomfort, right? Most people aren't used to making changes to the shape of their connective tissue. They're very familiar with muscles, but not the fascia. So it's a little uncomfortable at first. People tend to run away from it. But with enough propping, this one can really be quite comfortable, or comfortable enough that everything else can get an ease, and I can just allow my spine to rotate. Most of your rotation in your spine happens from the mid-thoracic up, about heart level up. Not trying to get a big torque on your lumbar spine. There's a little lengthening happening right here. Turn your head all the way if you can. And as you're ready, if you're ready, push yourself up from there. Back leg can come forward. Get rid of these props, and I'll invite you, if you'd like. We tend to sit the same cross-legged all the time. I'm definitely guilty of that. It feels quite awkward for me to switch. Sometimes in that awkwardness, two different color blocks, so you can at least see the blue one, it is nice to let your hips find some ease, but that is up to you. As I was saying yesterday, sometimes it's interesting to sit with the awkwardness and see what the body does. Come back to either moving or stillness, whatever feels good. It's very often nice to make a change and then use the change that we've made. And as you're ready, come back to this place of stillness, using whatever prompts are good for you. Check in, breath. It's responsible for 80% of us finding that vagus nerve pathway. The other 20% comes from eyes, steady gaze, face at ease, structures within the mouth at ease. And notice how your body is breathing at this moment. Notice any sighs that you have taken or are taking. Very normal process of breathing. Perhaps even notice how, without you cueing from your brain, your body knew to come back to the imaginary straw to find just a little more ease. We are indeed all trainable. It's how our nervous system works. Place of neuroplasticity, ability to make change. Note any places of ease that have come about you. Any places that feel comfortable because you intended, asked, invited, and allowed. Stay here for as long as you like if you have more time. If you had a practice time of 30 minutes, we have reached that. I appreciate you being here. I hope you'll come back for a few more evening practices, always on recording. Thanks for joining me.